we own our own masters, we don't stream, and we don't do digital downloading. So it's tough. Why don't you do digital downloading? Apple has a set of rules. They're the digital downloader. Apple had a set of rules, and if you didn't play by those rules, you didn't get in the game. Well, a guy like me that was here before Apple got here, or iTunes got here, you're doing your thing. Well, what if I don't want to sell just singles? What if you want to do album only? Because how album only works, and we'll try and stay out of the mud today. Try and keep it positive, keep it up. But let's take Kim Williams, one of the greatest songwriters this town there is. In the Songwriting Hall of Fame, Kim Williams passed a year ago. Kim Williams' journey came to this town. How a songwriter lives in this town is you get what they call album cuts back then. You get album cuts on a Randy Travis record, George Strait record. That pays your rent for 6 more months, 7 more months maybe. Get another album cut, right? And then one day, you hit it. One day you're sitting in the room and it's crawling all over you. And you're going, holy shit. And you can't write fast enough, right? And someone like Strait cuts it. And all of a sudden somebody calls you and says, you've got a single. If it weren't for those album cuts, that songwriter would have not get to stay in this town long enough to feed himself and his family. That's how the system worked. So when you talk about iTunes, it's like, hey guys, if I just want to do album only, why shouldn't I? And why are you telling me what I'm going to price it at? I'll price it at what I want to price it at, and if the people think it's too high, they won't get it. That's a fair system. But if you don't play by the rules, you don't do it. So when it came to Sony, they realized no digital downloads, no streaming, and no YouTube. There's the big one right there. So those 3 things, you realize, holy cow, I'm no good to a label. So maybe the label I need to be on is something that works in this area here. And serendipity, thank God, whatever you want to call it, right when the label was being formed, we got a call from Amazon out of the blue. Because we'd had wonderful talks with Spotify, and we'd had honest conversations with iTunes. But none of them were what we needed. We needed somebody who was involved in digital, in physical, and in streaming, all 3. And there ain't anybody like that out there until now. So when Amazon called, it was like a no-brainer. And Amazon was just quoted as the most reliable retail source on the planet. So this looked like a great marriage. It's just starting, but I can tell you that with a new label and Amazon together, the future, weird to say this late in my career, the future is, the potential is scary. I think we could make what we have done look small with a working relationship between the label and radio, partner with Amazon. I think the sky's the limit.
They're sponsoring the tour too, right?
They are sponsoring the tour.
Speaking of the tour, the Garth Brooks World Tour. About to hit your 5 millionth ticket sold this weekend in Edmonton, which is record-breaking, biggest tour in history. So this time around, it took 60 cities, correct, to hit 5 million? And last time around, it was what 100? So I'd like to talk about, there's so much that goes on before an on sale.
Right.
And why you come into a city and there's not a lot of lead time. It's like, you do the phoners, you've got the on sale. Talk about the process and why you do it that way.
Yeah, there's several approaches to music. And before I say this, let me know that for me, all are respected. It's just which one fits you best, or which one fits the people that you're hoping are going to show up in those seats best. So if iTunes has their business, they've been very sweet to me and very respectful. Good for them. Doesn't fit mine, so I have to find some other way. Other artists will put on sales on 6 months out, a year out, and it's all for business reasons, which I totally get. For us, we like to take a city and grab it. And now just don't let it go. Oh my God, I got to hold this thing. What do I do now? Don't let go of it. So 6 weeks before the show, we're going to announce. 5 weeks before the show, we're going to put the tickets on sale. And hopefully it's just going to boil. And then our job when we come into the city is to burn that thing down. That's our job. And man, we're talking about a fun thing to do. But concerts are like sex, actually, when you think about it. Because the whole time, you're working to get an invitation back. That's what you want to do. That pretty much wrapped it up.
By the way, I'd like to talk about the relationship you have with your fans and with radio. I have never seen anything like it in my entire life, and I still get chill bumps every time I'm at one of your shows, and I can't believe that God has blessed me to work with you and Leslie and Mandy and Chris and Hillary, and it's amazing. But the backstage experience, I mean, what in the world? It's like you're sitting in your living room with you and Trisha, and you're just spending, they're winners. I've seen them come out of the backstage just in tears, and just, it's like a bucket list, and you change their life. And I would just like to talk to you about, like, what is that relationship, and how has it always been like that? It's not a cattle call. You're taking so much time to meet radio and the winners and just people, and I think it's incredible. So
that's very sweet. Probably somebody else's question to answer. For me, it goes back to what a lot of people don't realize, and we always overlook because we think artists are, like, for me, George Strait, I think he's a god, so I don't think he's mortal. So I never put him in my own shoes. What people don't realize is before you ever play concerts, you go to them. And what people really don't realize is you still go to concerts. And you see the experience. Going to a concert might be the biggest pain in the ass there's ever been. Getting tickets, good luck. Getting honest tickets, good luck. Right? Now, the cost of them, nobody ever goes by themselves. Double that. Bring your kids, double that, if not babysitters. Want to take your spouse to dinner on the way to the concert? You want to get a t-shirt at the concert? Try a beer at the concert. They're as much as the t-shirts are. Right? People, in Boston, the parking was more than the price of the concert. It's a pain in the ass to go to these things. And yet they show up, man. They show up, and they show up in the back freaking rows. And they're as excited as the people come from. So I think what the thing is, when I went to a concert, let's say one of my first concerts I went to was Queen. My girlfriend, Tammy, had bought the tickets. We couldn't afford them, but she bought them and surprised me. We went to Queen. I stood on the 13th row, stood in my chair. And all I wanted was Freddie Mercury to look at me for 3 seconds so I could go, thank you, man. Thank you. I know I shouldn't be making my decisions by listening to your music. So as you now play, all you're looking for is that 3 seconds to each person out there to go, thank you. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my children's college. Thank you for the dream gig. Well, backstage is the same way. All you want to do is get to radio and hug their neck and say, thank you. Thank you, thank you. There's 5,000 of us out there you can play. Thank you. Not for what you're doing, for what you've done. And if it's for what you're doing, that's your choice. If it's working for your station, great. If it's not, play it anyway, you know? And then the people, they bring back their winners, and all the winners want to do is tell you that well, let's take Canada. We're up there last weekend. We're back up there again this weekend.
9 shows?
Yeah, and let's talk about a couple that went through McDonald's. They were dating, went through McDonald's in '92 when they had the Garth first 5 years along with Tina Turner and Elton John. All these EMI was doing this big thing, and for 3,000 kilometers they had that cassette tape. and they found out who Garth Brooks was. And they fell in love with each other and the whole experience. So Garth Brooks was at their wedding, singing. They were there when their children were born, playing their music. Now, she's in a bout for her life with cancer. She's fighting every second he can. Got her out of the hospital to come see the show. And all they want to do is hug your neck and tell you thank you. If you ain't got time for that, what the hell, forget business. But if you, that's what I know about backstage. The other stuff you probably have to ask somebody else. But for me, it's a chance to say thank you.
A lot of people, or some people, some of our country radio friends in here have experienced that, and everybody's got a Garth story. They're phenomenal. They just live on, they're amazing. So RJ mentioned this is your first go with social media.